what's going on, guys? Savius again. I'm back with another analysis video of a boss in Mythic. This time it's twin Ogrons. This boss is very much like Kargath in that you have to execute the mechanics properly in order to kill it. I know it seems like you'd have to execute mechanics properly of any fight, but there are a lot of fights that are simpler than that. It's very similar to what it is in Heroic and Normal. A lot of the same things happen. The major difference is there's arcane augmentations to various abilities. Whirlwind gets augmented to suck the raid group into it when it's empowered. Shield Charge gets empowered to create 3 arcane copies that'll do like an arcane smash at the end of their pathing. And there's also arcane volatility that is randomly placed on the raid, which is the debuff that happens during the trash that explodes and knocks people back and stuff like that. But other than that, it's more or less the same fight. So right here we have our first Quake, and I'm just going to trank for it. My trank is actually a little slow. You see I put myself in the corner here, and I end up taking a stack of fire. I didn't want to take 2 stacks, so I ran through it. I almost got 2 stacks anyway. But Quake's damage, and you see the empowered Whirlwind here, you kind of run away from it or you'll get sucked in. Use things like a stampeding roar. If you need to avoid something, and it's better to just run through and get like 1 stack of fire if it's going to help you survive. We have a little lag here, and I want to apologize for that. I'm not exactly sure what happened. There's going to be a couple other laggy moments during the video as well. There's the arcane volatility you see, and basically all you do to handle that is spread. You still want to stack in and handle Enfeebling Roar properly. Enfeebling Roar has a 20 or 25 yard range, so you can get close enough to soak that even with arcane volatility without actually damaging other people. Pulverize comes out, you still handle that the same. You spread so that that splash damage doesn't occur, and then you avoid the falling debris as best as you can, especially the large circle one. And it does a ton of damage as general, but you just heal through that. Now Quake comes out, I Tree of Life for that. I should have Wild Growth first immediately after going into Tree of Life, because you want to get as many Wild Growths with Tree of Life up as possible, just for output as a healer. Now you see we get, I think, our first death, and it's because he ate a Shield Charge. Trio ate it as well, but he didn't also have 2 stacks of fire on him. Had he had 2 stacks of fire on him like Ira did, he almost certainly would have died. If he had 1 stack, he may have died. The Shield Charge bleed is so bad. It's so bad. It's near fatal just by itself. You have to get damage reduction and just heavy focus healing in order to survive that. So in order to avoid that situation, just dodge it. Just don't get hit by it. Like, really, just don't get hit by it. If you can avoid shield charges in this fight, if you can avoid fires in this fight, it's really a simple fight, because all you do is spread for Pulverize, you spread for Volatility, you stack in for Enfeebling Roar, and you just heal through the damage in the rest of the fight, the Interrupting Roar, and just the damage over time or whatever from Quake. Right here we get pretty low from Pulverize, but we have a Healing Tide to heal us back through it. There's no damage to the raid coming out after that. Quake is going to happen here soon. Here's the Shield Charge. It gets avoided by everybody, so that was really good. And you just watch, rinse, and repeat, you know, throughout the entire encounter of avoiding fire and avoiding shield charges. You're gonna take some stacks of fire. 1 stack is fine. 2 stacks gets a little iffy. 3 stacks is really fucking bad. Don't get more than 1 stack, I'll just say that. You know, if you gotta get to safety and you gotta take 1 stack of the fire, just that's perfectly okay. But anything beyond that, just no. You're going to wipe the raid. You're going to cause unnecessary healing to have to occur. And it's just not good. One thing I will note, though, we ran 5 healers. I think 5 healers is a little too many. If you have an extra DPS and you have particularly good DPS, your fight won't go as long as ours did. So you actually won't end up having to deal with some of the rougher parts of the encounter, where, like, you have a Pulverize during a Quake or some shit like that. That only happens because the fight goes on long enough for those cooldowns to actually overlap. Like, you're going to get enfeeblings with Pulves. That just happens. That's normal. But enfeeblings or Pulves during Quake is just... you can avoid it by killing the fights or killing the bosses sooner. You see me channel here because it's a pretty lax moment. There's no damage. There's no major mechanics to avoid. Quake comes out. I get some mana back for that. 10 seconds on my Tree of Life. But Trank is available. Now, my Trank being available here is actually a major mistake on my part because the previous 30 or 40 seconds or so, with the Enfeebling and the Pulverize happening together, I could have and should have Tranked for that. Because I failed to do that, you'll notice that Healing Tide and Tranquility ended up overlapping right there during that Quake. So, neither was as effective as it could have been. I mean, we got the raid topped off and everything, and no one died, but, you know, it is what it is. That was my mistake, and I'll have to avoid that in the future with better timing. You see I get knocked into the Whirlwind, but displaced the Beast out of it. It was interesting that even though I flew through the air and I flew over the fire, I still got a stack of fire, so that's a little weird. It is a little weird and very strange, I feel like, but I don't know, it is what it is. That Enfeebling, if you stack in and you handle it, it does much less damage than it normally would. I'm not entirely sure if maybe we used a Devo Aura there or something. It's not on my cooldown meter, so I don't know, but I don't actually know if I track Devo Aura. So I have to look into that later to find out exactly why that Enfeebling didn't do as much damage as it normally does. But we're at the last 10%. I think I missed the other Bloodlust, the second Bloodlust for the healers. Looks like it occurred about a minute ago or so. At the Quake that I actually ended up tranking for is when we use it, and it's actually a really good tactic to do that because the healers don't need the haste early in the fight, so that's why we actually step away from the group at the beginning there. That's why the healers are separated from the group, so you can have that secondary trank later in the fight to use as another raid cooldown. So still gets a little hairy towards the end, but not all that bad. Boss is at 1%. We kill them maybe about 25 seconds or 20 seconds before they actually enrage. And there you have it. Twin Ogrons goes down right there. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video now and just talk a little bit about it. Like I said, my timing was really off with using Wild Growth properly when coupled with Tree of Life, as well as holding my second Tranquility for entirely too long. I held that Trank for probably 50 seconds, and in my mind I was thinking like, okay, I want to use this Trank for the next Quake, but I should have paid better attention to the other healing cooldowns that were coming up. You know, I would have known that the Healing Tide would have been available for the next Quake, and I could have used mine for the Pulverizing and Enfeebling that had diff duts pretty low. Luckily, that lapse in judgment didn't cause a wipe. But anyway, that's pretty much it for Twin Ogrons, man. It's a mechanical fight. You handle the mechanics properly, you handle the shield charges and avoid those. You don't get too many stacks of fire, and you just heal through the rest of the damage. You stack in for Enfeebling, you spread out for Volatility, and you spread out for Pulverize, and you'll see these bosses fall into you in no time. That's it for me, man. I'm Savius. Thanks for watching this video once again. I hope it helps. Good luck in your raiding and have fun, man. And I'll see you guys later in the next video.